All right, welcome to our Butterfly Project, which is a version of Yom HaShoah that we do here in 8th grade. Now, at this point, you know that Yom HaShoah is the holiday set aside to remember the victims of the Holocaust. So, this particular event happens in the month of April, and since we're not able to participate in Yom HaShoah because we'll be in a different unit, the Butterfly Project is our way to remember all of the victims of the Holocaust. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are we doing a butterfly? And there's a couple reasons for that. The first couple reasons have to do with the creature itself. The butterfly is a symbol of rebirth in many cultures. So the life cycle of the butterfly contains a lot of symbolism. Now, I'm sure in your educational careers you have actually raised butterflies from the cocoon to the actual creature itself being released into the wow. So that process of emerging from the cocoon into a new life is one of the reasons why we use butterflies for this particular project. Now, to tie in a little bit of geometry, some mathematical concepts here, the butterfly is also a symmetrical creature. You can see that in this image right here. We have a beautiful butterfly with some primary colors of blue and yellow, and this creature is symmetrical. It is even on both sides. So another reason why we use the butterfly is because the various species are beautiful. There's a lot of variety. They look really awesome. Now, there's another reason too why we are using the butterfly, and that has to do with the Thurinstadt settlement, which was a concentration camp and also a ghetto. Now, on the right-hand image here, we have a diagram or a map of what the settlement looks like, and then on the left, we have a piece of artwork that was done by a young child, probably less than 10 years of age. Now, these pieces of artwork were also found in a suitcase with some poetry. Now, when we transition to this next screen here, there was a young boy who wrote a poem titled, "I Will Never See Another Butterfly." And this particular quote right here, which you can be reading as you listen to me speak, talks about the experiences of this young boy within the settlement camp. So this is a great resource that comes from this time period in history. Now, this time period in history, there were many, many poems that were found within this particular time period. Here's another example, which is titled, "I'd Like to Go Alone." And in this poem, the child talks about the experiences that they've had within this particular settlement camp. So pause your iPad right now and go ahead and read this poem. All right, now that we're back, let's focus on poem creation. The goal of your project is to create a poem that memorializes or remembers the actions and experiences of the individual that you will be assigned. So, let's first focus on how you're going to write your poem. You're going to use the 5 senses. The 5 senses are listed in this graphic below, and this is how you're going to create a piece of poetry that focuses on the senses, the experiences of the individual that you'll be assigned. Now, when you conducted the research for your Voices of the People essay, you found ID cards. You found first-person accounts of your topic. So you're an expert on finding the experiences of people. However, with this particular project, a lot of your responses are going to be, or ID cards, are going to be people who have either died during the Holocaust through some type of unfortunate event, or who have survived a very dramatic and perhaps traumatizing event. So here's an example. The individual's name is Ita, and there's an image of her posted here as well. So pause your device right now and read through Ita's story, please. Okay, now that we're back, we're going to work as a class when we are meeting in MAMS to create an example using the camps as a topic. But before we do that, we're going to preview how you're going to use the senses within an example poem. So The first thing you want to focus on is just thinking about the experiences of what someone might see, taste, touch, feel within a particular topic. So we have an example here of the camps. As you can see, the dark black font shows the elements or the things that a person might experience. The red text shows the sense that would coincide with the item that is written down. So for instance, no food would be something that an individual might taste. So that's how you're going to focus on using the 5 senses to come up with ideas and words that might be used within a poem. So we have multiple examples here about things that people might experience within the concentration camps. Now, we're going to take all of that and rearrange it into a poem. So, voila. Here we have a poem titled Words of Remembrance. As you can see, there are still elements from the first piece that we have just discussed with all the possible examples and how they relate to the 5 senses. So as you read through this, you can see how different elements within the camps are used to remember this particular individual. Now, as we continue on, when you are writing your poem, you want to think of 3 main things. The first is, what are my person's experiences? What were the different elements or the different items that the individual went through during the 1930s and the 1940s? Next, what are the things I can hear, see, taste, touch, or feel? Focus on the senses that you have and then apply those to what an individual might have experienced during the Holocaust. Finally, think about emotions and what people might do mentally if they were put in that situation. Obviously, people needed to make rational decisions quickly and really use and show bravery during this time period. So think about that when you are writing your poems. Now, you're going to be given a graphic organizer. It's also posted in Canvas. Now, what you're going to do then is you're going to be assigned an individual, and then you're going to create your poem. Once you're done filling out your graphic organizer, you're going to conference with a teacher. At that point then, you're going to then move on and type your poem in Pages. Now, your final poem, you want to make sure that you use the template in Canvas because that contains a slot for you to use your name and the class period in which you have language arts. That's very important for when your teacher prints out everything so they can give you your poem in the appropriate class. So, one thing that we want you to consider is typeface, and there's a reason why that word is written in red. Typeface is this particular example slide here. It goes over various types such as formal text, informal text, modern text, or something warm or cool. Consider changing the typeface within your poem to help the typeface better fit the mood that you are trying to convey. So, with that being said, go ahead and work back through your Yom HaShoah Butterfly Day project.